Saturday morning, November 4th, Breeders' Cup Saturday at Santa Anita. Taking a quick look at all of the races like I did yesterday. I'm not going to get into too much depth, but just a quick overview. The Breeders' Cup rather starts out in race 3, the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. Looking at this race, couple scratches, Practical Move is out, unfortunately. Passed away on the track earlier this week with a heart attack, and Algiers is scratched. He was scratched a few days back. Looking at this race, there seems to be quite a bit of speed in here with Skippy Longstocking, National Treasure with the strong early pace. You also have Charge It, who likes to run early. And Cody's Wish, I really wanted to go against him. If Practical Move was still in here, I would have. The most likely potential upsetter is Charge It to me, and Skippy Longstocking also has a smaller chance. I don't think anyone else in here really has a prayer. People are talking up Zozos, but he's only got one race where he's got 100 brisk speed figure, and that was at a one-turn mile in that restricted Knicks Go. Looking at Cody's Wish, the only really bad race he's got in here is this 1 1/8 in the Whitney, and that's just not his thing. Just a little bit too far for him. 7/8 to a mile. He's good. I'm even a little skeptical of him around 2 turns, but looking at his races, he's been running 104, 105s, 106, 101. I mean, he's probably going to run at least a 104, 105 today. And if he does that, who in here is really going to have a shot to beat him? I don't necessarily see Zozos doing that. There's too much pace pressure for these speed horses to really be able to run a top number like this. Look at here, like Charge It is who would be my preferred upset horse in the Suburban. He ran a 109 with a strong early pace number, but he was alone 3.5 lengths in front at the second call. He's not going to get that today. He's run fast, but hasn't won because he didn't have that easy lead like here in the Metropolitan Handicap. And then again here in the Oaklawn Handicap, he ran 100 but lost. He had a contested lead here in the GP Mile, Gulfstream Park Mile, Grade 2. Contested lead, couldn't hold on to win. So without an uncontested lead, that's what he's got in his wins. Looking here, he's got these uncontested leads here in these 2 races, so he's not going to see that. So he's even a bit of a stretch. Skippy is another horse, needs to be on the lead. He was contested here in the Grade 3 Challenger, and he ended up pulling off and winning. If you like Skippy, he's going to have some value. He was contested here in the Harlan Hardy pressured contested pace, and he won here. So he actually may be the better long choice here. So if anyone's going to pull the upset, I think it would be Charge It or Skippy, but Cody's Wish looks awfully tough, so I wouldn't put a bunch of money to go against him. National Treasure's also going to be pressuring this pace. I don't think he can win. He needs to really have a clear pace advantage, which he's not going to have in this race. So this looks like it's going to go to Cody's Wish by default. Filly and Mare Turf, this is really an interesting race. In Italian, be going 1.25 miles. It's going to have to carry that speed, a little bit of extra distance over what she's been doing against a really tough group of horses. If anyone can pull it off, she can, but I've got to put her down to like the 3rd or 4th spot. Warm Heart is definitely one of the top couple of contenders in here, has been running at 1.5 miles, but has had success running at 1.25 miles, winning twice at this distance. Some people had concern on the cutback, but looking at that, there's really no concern about that this being too short for her. Key long shot upsetter is number 3 With the Moonlight. This is one of Applebee's really only 2 good horses. The other one is Master of the Seas and the Turf Mile. But I think if you're looking for a sleeper in this race, this is your long shot opportunity with Appleby and Buick. So I definitely will be getting some money on this horse. Moira may be an underneath play. And Spiral is a miler, and Gosden chose to run her in the Filly and Mare Turf instead of in the mile. So this is an interesting choice. She's got to go 1.25 miles. She's not normally running this distance, but looking at her turf pedigree, Frankel out of Galileo and then Starscope Dam out of Selkirk, distance is really not a question for her, and she's a beast. Throws out a clunker every now and then, but that may have to do with the soft turf that she may not like. She likes it a bit firmer, so she might really like the firm Santa Anita. Fev Rover could be part of a piece and will be part of the pace scenario. A horse to upset too, second long shot I would like is Didia. Didia has been pointed to this race this whole season, so Didia has run a couple of races that could create a number that could win here. And that's about it for what I'm looking at there. So I would go with the Moonlight as the top long shot possibility. Fev Rover could get a piece underneath. Didia could possibly upset. I don't think an Italian can hold on. The most likely winners are Inspiral or Warmheart. So if you like those two, I'd be looking at Didia and With the Moonlight underneath, looking for some value. An Italian probably will stick into the trifecta. Super for sure. She is not a runner that gives up. But to get some value in there with the 1, 2, and 6, you want to be looking at the 3 and the 9 and possibly the 8 underneath, in my opinion. Moving to the Filly and Mare Sprint. Oh, what can you say? There's Goodnight Olive. And then who else is in there that's going to really be able to put the challenge to her? The one I like is Kirsten Bosch. I definitely would be looking at Kirsten Bosch to bring some value into an exacta. So Society would be the second choice to Goodnight Olive, and I like 3 Witches underneath as a possible in the money or bottom of the exacta candidate. So definitely looking for Kirsten Bosch to possibly pull an upset. I don't know if 3 Witches can, but I'd definitely be looking for her in second. So I'd probably box the 1 and 5. Then I'd put the 1 and 7 over the 5 and the 8 in exactas, and then hook your tries up with a similar scenario. Going to the BC Mile. This is a really tough race. Couple of horses I like are Casa Creed, who's just a tough old dog and who's in peak form right now, and I expect him to run well. Maj is going to be on the pace. She's tough. Another long shot possibility here. Well, not so long probably, but Kalina is a very good chance to win this race. The other top contenders would be Master of the Seas and Songline, number 10, the likely favorite, the very tough Japanese miler. I also look at Gina Romanica underneath. So for the top potential win contenders, the logical contenders are the 10, 14, 11. I'm not in love with Maj, but Maj has a chance to win. Odds horses in this race, definitely Casa Creed and Gina Romantica for some value to get in there underneath. Best value horse is number 11, Kalina, in the middle price range. Hopefully she'll go off more around the 8-1 area. If she goes around there, she'll be a good win bet. I don't see Gina Romantica winning, but I think she could be underneath. I could see Casa Creed winning. If he goes around that 8-1 area, hopefully a little better, I would look at a win bet on him. The other ones are going to be too short on the win, so like the 10, 14, and if you like the 6 Maj, I'd be looking to use them on top of those value horses just mentioned. In the distaff, this race should have a super hot pace. There's so much speed in here that the pace should go really strong. You've got the logical lower price horses, the top 3 here, Randomized, Idiomatic, Adair Manor, search results. They're all going to trigger a potentially hot pace. And the 2 horses I like here to get the win with that pace are number 9, Clairiere. I was really hoping that Clairiere would be ignored and maybe go around 8-1 or maybe at least 6-1. Clairiere has a super strong chance to win this race with finally getting her pace set up. And then the other one would be the 3-year-old Wet Paint out of the Cox barn. Wet Paint also has that closing type of ability to take advantage of this hot pace. And another one would be Lei da Vida underneath. I wouldn't look for her to win, but you definitely want to get her in the second, third hole if you're playing exactas or tries. The mile-and-a-half turf comes up really tough this year. You know, there's the obvious choices. The Euros look really, really strong. So the logical choices are going to be Auguste Rodin and Mostadaf. Those guys are very tough. And then Onesto will be the value there at 8-1 coming out of the third place finish in the Arc. He's an inconsistent horse, but this is a pattern and prep sequence that leads up to a good effort in the turf here. King of Steel is shipping over and rolling back in 2 weeks. That's just a bit of a tough ask, and at 4-1, that's not enough price on him. Auguste Rodin and Mostadaf probably both going to be around 5-2 or so. You know, this is really a very contentious race. There's 2 horses I'm looking at to get an upset here. Warlike Goddess and Adamo. Those are the 2 value horses that you would want to use hooking together with those other ones at 2, 5, and 9. I really am partial to Warlike Goddess with a chance to win and upset this race. The only thing with that is she's in her 6-year-old season. No 6-year-old has ever won this race. It's always been a 3, 4, or 5-year-old. But she's just that type of runner that's still really in peak physical condition. And Matt is as good as anybody at getting a horse ready for a big race. You know, he won the juvenile filly race yesterday with just FYI at a nice price of like 7-1. So Warlike Goddess is going to be value, and she'll be there at the end. And she's, you know, at her distance where she's won 7 of 9 and been in the money, second and third in the other 2. So there's good value there. I think Bolshoi Ballet, I think was the 4. Bolshoi Ballet scratched overnight and is now out of this race. He was going to be a pace factor, but I think Balladeer is going to be the horse out setting the lead, but the rest of these guys are going to run him down. Also, I've got to consider Up to the Mark. I did not mention him. He has no mile-and-a-half experience. He's been running shorter. Actually, he's been running at all different distances. He's very sharp. He's very good. Can he win this? I don't know, but he's going to be there at the end in the money too, so you got to use him on your tickets. But for value, 13, then 10. Logicals, 2, 5, 9. King of Steel, A little bit too much to ask. Broom over the top. I don't like him at all. So 259 long shot value, 1013, and look for 8 up to the mark to be in there in the mix. In the Classic, this race has turned out to be strange with Arcangelo now out. Interesting pace scenario here with Saudi Crown. This is a guy, this one here is going to be a value horse to me with the strong pace and strong numbers, even though he hasn't gone 1.25 miles yet. And then the other pace is Arabian Night, Baffert's horse number 12 here. The winner of the Pacific Classic, also super fast early. This is a type of typical Baffert horse. This is like a Bayern or, one of those guys. He's just going to get out, run, and you're going to have to catch him. But Arabian, or rather, Saudi Crown is going to be right there with him. One of these horses they're either going to be duking it out, or one of them's going to sit off the other. Pace should be relatively fast. This sets up pretty good for Zandon. Zandon doesn't win that often, but this is just the kind of weird pace type, not weird pace setup, but weird circumstances that set up for a horse like Zandon. This guy's solid triple figure in every race. He's always in the money. He's always in the trifecta, only once fourth hitting the bottom of the super, but this he's going to be in the money, and he's going to be value. So, Zandon, a big value horse. White Abario, long layoff, a little too long for winning this race. I mean, nothing wrong with him. This guy's been great. The 1.25 miles is a little bit of a question. The long layoff is also a question. The price is too short for me to play him to win. So for the value, I'd be looking at the 2 and the 6 for value. If you don't like the pace pressure there, I'm looking at Bright Future from Pletcher as a potential long shot win candidate here too, with Pletcher and Velasquez. He's got that nice 1.25 mile win in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. So if you liked him beating Proxy, you have to like Proxy also. Was that race a little bit fast? That's hard to say. Proxy is good value. Is he, good enough to win here? Not to me. I'd prefer Zandon over a horse like Proxy. Zandon, much more consistent, much more tested against higher class competition. So looking for a value bet to win the 11 and the 2 Zandon. I did like Saudi Crown, but with the pace scenario against Arabian Night, be a little tough to take him. We'll see how the odds are. Maybe I'd make like a staggered winner Dutch bet here. But there you have the Classic, the 5 furlong turf sprint. This is a tough race. I think Bradsell is out now. I'm not in love with this race, really. I don't have a strong opinion for a value price horse. I like Roses for Deborah. Motorius is a versatile horse who can win this race. And then I also would be looking at Big Invasion. I like him at a price. Clement has Big Invasion in here. And also the other one, Roses for Deborah. If you like the uncoupled angle entry, you've got to look at that. And I think D'Amato has another one in here. He's got the Beer Can Man also eligible. I don't know if he's going to get in. So anyway, that would be the way I'd look at that. Motorius, Big Invasion, and Roses for Deborah. Like those quite a bit. And I don't think you can leave Living the Dream off of any Exacta tickets. And then finally, the Breeders' Cup Sprint. I think Elite Power may be a little bit over the top this year. He's going to be so short. I don't want to bet him. He could obviously win. I don't really like Gunite in this scenario at 6 furlongs. I'm more partial to a good run from Dr. Chevelle and Speedboat Beach. Speedboat Beach has been working toward this particular race all year for Baffert. This is like a secret circle type of horse for Baffert, a horse who, you know, Secret Circle ran and won the juvenile sprint and then came back and won the sprint as a 3-year-old, I think, when they were running that juvenile dirt sprint. They're not doing that anymore. This horse, Speedboat Beach, ran in the juvenile turf sprint last year. Baffert said he was running this horse on turf to keep him away from his other good horses that were running on the dirt. He's got him now as a 3-year-old coming into this race. He's going to go out running, try to wire this field. He's going to get some pressure, though, from Gunite. And Hoist the Gold may go early along with that. And Dr. Chevelle is going to be right up there. Dr. Chevelle, very consistent sprint horse. Upset horse, Nakatomi. Really like the way he's been looking. Wesley Ward knows how to manage a sprint horse. So I'm looking at Nakatomi for value. Dr. Chevelle and Speedboat Beach as likely winners, with a smaller chance for this number 6, the Chosen Vran, who does nothing but win since he's been running, and he really likes this 6-furlong distance and Santa Anita. So home field advantage for him and Dr. Chevelle, and even Speedboat Beach to a degree. So looking at that, the 2 and 7 most likely winners. Nakatomi, key long shot, slight upset chance. Gunite, you got to use them underneath, but very, very deep race, but I'm looking at it in that manner. So that's my look at the logical contenders, some of the pace scenarios, and the possible long shots who should run well and get in the mix, winning some of these races and being on the bottom of your tickets and some of the others. So everybody have a good Breeders' Cup day and good luck.